How y'all doing? Yeah. So we are Inquizit. So I invite you to imagine that you're in a packed auditorium. Speakers wrapping up, Q&A is going on. It's the final question. And you've got that burning question that you want to ask. And it just so happens that there are a bunch of other people in the audience that would really like to know the answer to that question. It's relevant. Mic gets tossed around, hands go up, and this guy in the third row, he gets to ask his question. And he's a grandstander. He just goes on and on about his project. It's totally irrelevant. It's not even related to this speaker. And he just squandered your opportunity to ask your burning question. And so you leave the talk feeling pretty frustrated. Yeah? And not only that, those people in the audience didn't get to hear the answer to that question you would have asked, either because they were too shy, they didn't have foreign accent, they didn't feel like standing up, they didn't want to be the one to ask the question. And so they didn't get to get that value of your question being asked. So this is a real problem. You go to presentations and you don't feel engaged because you don't know if your question is going to be answered. Not only is it a problem for you, it's also a problem for that guy in the corner. He's the event director. He cares about what you guys think in the audience. He wants to make sure that you're getting the most value for flying out here, for paying to come to this conference. He's also paying the speaker up there, making sure that his time is as valuable as possible. So Inquizit aims to empower the audience to choose the answers that they think are most relevant and have presenters answer those questions first. And we do that through a web app, or rather a mobile app that we're developing. You as the attendees can go to this website. It's called Inquizit, and post your questions. Now, as your questions come in, you get to see what other audience members post as well, and you get to vote on them. Yeah, that's a pretty good question. I actually agree with that. That's a really good question. And those top voted questions go to the top of the list. And this happens in real time during the presentation. So not only do you get to see the questions that are at the top of the list, the presenter gets to see them as well. And in fact, our judges right now have the app in front of them, so they'll be able to start voting on posting apps and voting for their favorite questions as well. And so in this way, you get to have the audience participate in a way that they feel that they can more accurately engage with the presenter, and it's not just some random hand-raising competition at the end of the presentation. And really thinking about this a bit further, once you have your question in there, the presenter can go back in and find, hey, that person asked a really good question, I want to follow up with them after this presentation. And so the conversation can extend even after the presentation is over. So we did a bunch of market research. This is a really cool product in that there's a ton of presentations that go on, a ton of different applications for it. We looked at press conferences, we looked at shareholder meetings, we looked at lectures in class halls. We talked to a bunch of people, potential customers, and we picked these top three markets: corporate training, large conferences, and higher education. Looking at the numbers, this could end up being a $2 million annual revenue business. We managed to capture the market. We did this, you can ask me about the questions later, but this is what we're getting at by looking at different event management apps that are able to charge about $500 per event to get their suite of communication tools used. So the main competitors in this space are event management apps. Apps like EventMobi. They do things like scheduling for different agendas for the different speakers in the event. They do floor plan navigation for event attendees to make it to their program, and they manage communication between speaker bios and attendees. There are also audience polling apps that exist out there. There are competitors that have SMS applications for voting. The presenter would put a question out and essentially ask for a vote using an SMS app. There are also audience voting apps where you use a mobile application to do the same thing. Digital whiteboard apps that are collaboration tools for classrooms but don't really allow for audience participation in the sense of asking direct questions. So So none of these really take advantage of crowdsourced voting from direct questions from you, the audience members.